Hey, 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 welcome to another Money Today. Well, holy crap, I have really got myself into it this time, and I am about to blow some of you away. I'm kind of blown away myself, and I hardly know what to think about it. Most of this research came from today, so there's still a lot more to go through. But this information isn't for everybody, so I'll probably make some videos on coins and things like that, because it is important. But I just love deep diving into things like this. So this is a mind map of Jim Breyer. And you say, well, I thought this was about the ties between Tether and USDC. And you are 100% correct. And I am going to show you that there's ties directly and indirectly between Jim Breyer, USDC, and Tether. Not only that, how about the DM stablecoin as well? Would it be crazy if all three of the largest stablecoins in the world were Jim Breyer? This just blows me away. Okay, let's get into it right from the beginning. As most of you know from watching my channel, that Circle, which developed USDC with Coinbase, Circle was started by Jim Breyer. Pretty much everything about it is Jim Breyer, and I've gone over that in depth in my videos, just so you kind of get an idea of what we're talking about. This is $62 billion. This is almost $23 billion. So we're talking about $85 billion in stablecoins, and who knows what that would be if Facebook was to come out with one. So we're not talking about no small change here. But from one of the first guys that started Facebook, that's not really, the guy's got money. This isn't just about money, right? But it says right here, I've been deeply involved in blockchain and cryptocurrency since 2013 when I led Circle's Series A round. So this guy's behind Circle, which is behind USDC, primarily. So I was on Twitter today, and somebody came up with this, the XRP bully comes up with this thing saying, Tether's chain of ownership. And they say it leads back to China. Well, I start reading this thing and I see somewhere in there Baidu. And immediately when I see Baidu, I thought Tencent, Baidu, IDG Capital, Jim Breyer. So Kiana Sheck, and we'll get into that in a little bit, is actually from Baidu. And she runs Digifinex, which we're going to get into here in a little bit. So that was the story, somebody thinking that Tether was actually owned by China. And I don't fault them for that. If you really dig into those specifics, you will come back to China. What they wouldn't know, because they haven't done the research I have, is that in 2005, Breyer helped establish a joint venture between Excel Partners and China-based IDG Capital Partners. Well, IDG Capital Partners is not, it may be China-based, but it ain't China. Here's the team for IDG Capital Partners. Right here, Jim Breyer, and here's Gary Bridge. Neither of these guys are Chinese, but they're running IDG Capital. And that's a very long story, but we're not going to go into that today. But when you see China-based IDG Capital Partners, you still think Jim Breyer. Excel Partners? Jim Breyer. A pioneering Chinese investment firm behind Baidu and Tencent. There you have it right there. Now, before we get too much further, I wanted to at least let you know, Jim Breyer is married to Angela Chow, who is part of Foremost Shipping Group. So this is important when it comes to, say, VeChain, in my opinion. Now, Angela Chow is sisters with Elaine Chow, who is Secretary, or was Secretary of Transportation. And she is married to Mitch McConnell, who is the Senate Majority Leader. I just wanted to kind of let you know that. It's not super relevant to what we're talking about, but just to show you kind of how connected he is in that area. And this is the Foremost Group, and it's 72% of its freight is shipped to China. It is kind of primarily Asian shipping. Now, Baidu, Chinese multinational technology company specializing in internet-related services and products and artificial intelligence. And it has a search engine and Baidu maps, kind of like the Google of China here. And that's what we're going to learn overall. We're going to learn that the investments that Jim Breyer has made into China have become basically the Facebook of China, the payments of China, everything of China, all the technology. And it's really kind of mind-blowing. But here's Kiana Shek, right? She comes from Baidu. And now she is not only comes from Baidu, she was Deputy General Manager of Business Development and Government Partnerships. No small cookie here, and now she is the founder or co-founder of DigiFinex Global. Now, I told you about Baidu getting into AI. And Jim Breyer also, Elemental Cognition adds 3 notable advisors. One of them is Jim Breyer, the artificial intelligence company founded by and led by Dr. David Ferrucci, creator of IBM Watson. Baidu joins Cloud Native Computing Foundation as gold member. That is the Linux Foundation. And they gave some of this artificial intelligence, very important artificial intelligence, called Paddle, by the way, which is kind of weird, deep learning framework, given to open source. But with the new AI companies, whether it's C3 IoT, Page AI, or some of the others I'm working with in the US or in China, how will the entire AI ecology play out? Will Amazon, Microsoft, Facebook, and Google end up controlling everything? Those companies, along with Alibaba and Tencent in China, will likely control the cloud platforms. That's an answer to will they control everything? But AI will control everything. And if you look, here's the one he's talking about, C3 IoT. We're talking about the Air Force, Department of Defense, Raytheon, 3M. Now he's working directly, bringing out Chinese unicorns around the world, and also working directly with artificial intelligence both in the United States and in China. But that's not a big deal somehow. It's really kind of surprising. But not only to that fact, but if he is behind all of the stablecoins, what does this all mean? Who is behind Jim Breyer? This is my question. Sibyl explained how AI and Internet of Things are restructuring the economy 100 times faster than the Industrial Revolution, with 30 times more change. And this is the C3 IoT CEO, Thomas Sibyl. So you can see this is big. I mean, when you talk about the 4th Industrial Revolution, almost everything that I find is, like I said, the Linux Foundation foremost. And I'm finding a lot of stuff with Jim Breyer. Now, we'll go into a little bit about IDG Capital. Was the first global investment firm to enter China in the 1990s, an early investor in Baidu, Tencent, and Xiaomi. And if we look at Tencent, IDG Capital, yes, but a lot of that was also a company called Naspers, which is South African. They had about 50%. Now they have about 29%. That's still huge. But I want you to keep your eye on PayU. Major brands owned by Naspers includes, and this is from Prosus, it's PayU. So Tencent, another one of the IDG Capital companies, also started WeChat. And WeChat is basically the everything for China. It's where they get their payments, it's where they do their texting, it's everything. So now we've got their search engine and their maps and their chat and their digital dollar? Guess we're going to find out. So here you got Xiaomi and Tencent and Baidu all starting DigiFinex Global. Isn't that a little curious? Doesn't it seem a little bit maybe like Jim Breyer started DigiFinex Global? I mean, if all of the companies IDG Capital started are the ones who started DigiFinex Global, and Kiana Shek comes from Baidu, I'm starting to think DigiFinex and iFinex, which is Bitfinex and Tether, are coming right back to IDG Capital. And I don't think that's a very far stretch at all. I mean, what are the odds? So we've got a really good connection here between Jim Breyer starting USDC and Jim Breyer at least partially, if not all, behind Tether. or whoever he's working with. Of course, Jim was on the board of Facebook with Mark Andreessen from Andreessen Horowitz, who created Coinbase, who together created USDC. Very small world, huh? And then we also have to throw Peter Thiel in the mix, who is also on the board of Facebook and also into AI. So I'm sure there's going to be much more that comes of that. But also, I wanted you to get this. Now, Facebook, there was basically 3 starters of Facebook. Here, I just wanted to show you this, actually, Digifinex's introduction. The core team come from well-known technology companies such as Zunlei, Tencent, Baidu, and HP, although it's headquartered in Singapore. All right, when I wanted to get to the DM Association, Facebook establishes the Libra Association, now it's DM, in Geneva, Switzerland. DM Association includes payments, pay you checkout. There's Naspers again. So Tencent and pay you. Small freaking world. I also wanted you to show you that the 3-person Facebook board at the time, early on in Facebook, Zuckerberg, Thiel, and Jim Breyer. Some more things that are just very interesting when it comes to Jim Breyer. We'll take a look at BBN Tech, which he is part of with Anita Jones. Now, Anita Jones is part of In-Q-Tel, which is the CIA arm of, well, here, I'll let you read it. The CIA and government agencies, once innovation leaders, recognized they were missing out on the cutting edge, innovative, and impactful technologies coming out of Silicon Valley and beyond. Combining the security savvy of the government with the can-do curiosity of Silicon Valley, In-Q-Tel was born. Now, In-Q-Tel has indirect ties right to Jim Breyer in 3 ways. BBN Tech, which he's part of, which with Anita Jones, which is part of In-Q-Tel. I believe he started the National Venture Capital Association, and part of that is Howard Cox and Gilman Louie, and they're both part of In-Q-Tel. So there's a lot more rabbit hole we can go into here, because Facebook started the very day that LifeLog disappeared, and that was another weird coincidence. So I got that information here, and I will leave this one in the description because I think it's pretty great with friends like these. And I know this is a weird all over the place video, but heck, if you didn't learn something, this is just too crazy. So we'll keep following this. I think it's just fascinating, if nothing else, that we've got all these ties together between East and West, and nobody knows about it. Nobody even sees it. It just blows me away. Whatever you might think that, China and the USA are at odds or whatever, this is just not true. They're working together on all of this. And I find that over and over and over, which I've shown you with the Linux Foundation, but now I'm showing you with Jim Breyer. It's truly mesmerizing. And let me know if it blows you away like I do, or if I should just get back to telling you what coin's going to 10x. All right. Thank you. Love y'all.